What's going on, traders? Welcome to my stream. In this video, we're going to discuss day trading sizing. Today was actually a very interesting day because we're pretty much close to the holiday season. December 25th, I believe, is Christmas, and then we're gonna have the New Year. So a lot of excitement during that time. Or right now, everybody's getting their gifts, and everybody's pretty much buying their gifts and their whatever it is that they're buying. Anyway, so the market has not been so hot, and you can still make money while the market is not so hot, but you have to pretty much adjust your trading and adjust your time of day of trading. Since we're lacking a little bit of liquidity here, a lot of these stocks are not going to move at 7 o'clock. I'll probably take them till about 9, and after 9, I mean, it'll get a little bit busier. But what I recommend during this time is taking one or two trades per day, nevertheless, not five, and keep on taking base hits. So in this video, we're going to discuss primarily day trading sizing. Sizing has been a very important thing because sometimes you just don't know whether or not you should be big or you should be small. A lot of you pretty much are big on bad setups and they're small on really good setups. So in this webinar, we're gonna discuss like my rules and what my idea of sizing is, so I can get you better situated. So what is day trading sizing? It's pretty much how much money you put into each play. You buy and you have a stop, and then you sell it when it reaches your target. Either A, it reaches your stop, or B, reaches your target. For my account size, this is an A plus setups probably you're gonna be around 30K. A B type setup is probably gonna be about 9K, and a C type setup is probably gonna be around a $3,000 position. So the worst position, the worst stock, the worst idea is not cannot be more than 3,000 bucks. So we're gonna go into like today's examples because today was the first day of the week, and the first day of the week is actually very important. Um, and we're gonna go with the first day. So first off, I ask myself every time I trade, like what kind of market I'm in, like what kind of market cycle I'm in, whether it's the bull market cycle or the bear market cycle. In this situation, we are in a bear market cycle. And how did I find that out? First off, last week was a little bit slower. We had an unusual slower week, only about 2 plays per day. And you can see here that 120% gainer sells off. And we don't have that many 200, 500% movers. So let's technically look at the gap scanner. What does that mean? So you can see you can see the number one top gainer we buy is pretty much up 97%. So it was up 110% at the open. And then you have Saidu number two and Wiki number three. So we buy, let's look at we buy for example. We buy went up 100% and started selling off. Isn't that correct? So you go back here. So 120% gainer sells off. So you can see that right out of the bat, right out of my, bear market cycle base hits chapter or whatever it is, or based on my thing here, we're in a base hit type of market. So you have, when 120% gainer sells off, you have to adjust your trading strategy and you have to, embrace this area, which is a bear market cycle. So your strategy needs to change. So therefore, I pretty much, so looking at the market conditions, we had we buy, side, and weekly. And keep this in mind, we are Monday, the first day of the week. And the first day of the week is usually the strongest day of the week. It usually kickstarts the rest of the week most of the time. Most of the time, if you have a very weak Monday, it's going to indicate that most of the days after this time are probably going to be weak as well, or you're going to have one or two movers. If you have a very strong Monday, it's going to indicate you're going to have maybe all week strong and multiple days in a row. Strong means 5 plays a day, 6 plays a day. In this situation, we did have 2 to 3 plays a day, but they were nowhere near an A plus setup. So we're gonna discuss, in this situation, my A plus setup and my strategy. So first off, the number two top gainer sells off, and I was originally long on this ticker, and I actually lost money on this ticker. But we're gonna discuss, my sizing on it and why I lost and actually came on top by just applying a simple method of sizing. In this situation, you can see that we came at to 40 and I actually sold it at around 37. And I actually tried it two times. And I tried it two times because it was a C type setups. And you can see that, so the bear market cycle, right? You have Saidu, you have Wiki, and these two all sold off. So first off, my position sizing right here, we buy, I recognize that it's a B and a C type setup. The reason why it's a B and a TC type setup is you can see so here that over here it has 1.5 million in volume as a pretty much is it 1.5 billion in volume? I think this is a billion in volume right here because you can see today's candle is much smaller. So what happens is when you have this bigger volume on the daily that's smaller than this volume on the daily, most of the time it does sell off. Nevertheless, you can see so here that we buy joins NVIDIA AI accelerated program to boost e-commerce. So first off, you had NVIDIA in the news, which is great, but it wasn't like any type of partnership, any type of deal. It was more like joins AI accelerator program. So I was like, okay, it has Nvidia in the news, it's bullish, but the news with Nvidia is not that strong, and the technicals really suck on it. So initially, I had a long perspective out of the gate to go long and potentially, have it go over 46 and 48 and go up to potentially this resistance here at 55, 58. So I buy it, I get stopped out, and let me remind you, this is a C type setup, C or a B type setup, and I was not expecting a dump out of the gate. And I got that, and I got out, and I moved on. I did initially hit my maximum loss of 1250.51. You can see so here that I was trading it around, 10,000 shares. And I was trying my best to go long on it because usually the top gainer of the day, which is over here, you can see that WeBuy was the top gainer of the day. It's 60% insiders. I mean, the float was, any stock will move on Nvidia news no matter what the float is. So you never want to be short on a stock, whatever the news is. If it says Apple, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, any type of the top companies, you never want to be short. So my bias was to buy. I never want to short, no matter what, how high it is. And I've seen some crazy things with Nvidia, and I've seen some crazy things when companies release news, and these companies are linked to some of the big companies. So I looked at the float, 26 million, insider 60%. I thought we're gonna go much higher. You can see so here that we had a huge volume. The stock rotated, I don't know, about 15 times. So in this situation, I went long at like 40, got stopped at 37. So I was like, that's a wrap. It hit my maximum loss, and I moved on. That's actually my maximum loss per that trade. So now you might wonder, like, what exactly is the next point? Since the main leader sells off, number one, the main leader sells off. Number two, we're in the bear market cycle. Number three, what do you do? Like, what do you do on the first day of the week? You look at the second mover, right? So Saidu was the second mover, and this ticker as well sells off. And I was like, does this look like an exciting ticker? I mean, it does not. There's nothing exciting about this ticker. Lots of resistance in the threes. I mean, the candles are like this. You have a gap down. You have, you opened over the gap down. I mean, it doesn't really have potential, and it's trading like, 5, 10 cents per candle. So I don't think this is gonna likely gonna give me any money, especially as it sold off at the open. And you can see the big volume here once we reach 255. Normally, when you have this amount of volume, let's see. Like you can see, every time we hit a top, we have, 2 million, 3 million in volume. So here's the top, and here's probably the top. So in this situation, when I saw like, so I went to Webuy, I saw this thing is selling off, and I recognize this is a B or a C setup. I took my loss. I went to Saidu, and I did not like it. And then I looked at the third ticker as Wiki. Like this is the trick. Not everything is gonna work, and this is why you have to adapt and know what you're doing and know sizing. And as you can see, Wiki here. Wiki is an A plus setup, and I'm gonna discuss why this stock is an A plus setup. First off, Wiki is a 52-week breakout. As you can see in the past, we were going, you can see so here that we broke 8. So not only is a day 2 continuation, but it's a 52-week breakout. If I were going to take the chart out, you'll probably see like no resistance on the chart. And this is a 52-week breakout. That's number 1. Number 2, it has news. The news was, what is it? Announces the integration of its advanced post-quantum cryptocurrency technology to secure electronics. So that's good as well. Number 3, it's a low float. I mean, you have to understand, like, a 3 million float is gonna perform really well. And number 4, which you guys don't get, is number 3 on the list. So you can see so that most traders are long, and if they lost on Webuy and we lost in Saidu, they're gonna look at the third ticker, and they're not gonna go beyond the third ticker, especially on the first day of the week. Like first day of the week, a retail trader comes in, look at the top stock, and says, it's selling off. I lost. He's gonna look at the second stock. It's not that exciting, and he's gonna see the third stock, and he's gonna look at all these indications, and he's gonna say, A, 52-week breakout, has news, pre-market breakout, low float, number 3 on the list. So I recognize Wiki coming in from 850 up to 1050 over here because it was hitting my midday scanner. And I was like, okay, if it breaks 1064, I'm going to buy it. So we come back down, and as soon as we break this is a pre-market breakout strategy, pre-market breakout. So I initially bought it at 11 and initially went to 1250. And I recognize this is an ape type setup in the moment. I did not, I also experienced a loss. So in order to not only, so it doesn't really work that well, if you experience a loss, double down on the next one to make your money back. But to me, in my mind, I was like, this setup looks really good. I should really go long. And my idea to go long was probably a great idea. So I go long at 11, and then it pushes to 1250, and then it dips back down, and I actually add it over here. I actually added just a bit here. And why is the reason for my ad? First off, there's no other stocks that you could have made money in. As you can see, the number 1 leader sells off. Number 1 leader sells off. Number 2 leader is choppy and it doesn't provide that much range. From here to here, 230 to 240, you're providing 10 cents of profit. It's not really worth it. So whoever's buying it, every single Mondays, people are buying stocks. So whoever is buying it is not making any money. So this volume of people on the sidelines are gonna buy something to make money. So this volume that exists every single money has not gone into a stock where they made money on. So they're gonna keep pushing. They're gonna get stopped out in like 1 or 2 tickers until they make their money. Because there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines on Monday. Just keep that in mind. There's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines on Monday because people enjoy their 2-day weekend, and then they show up with very rested, very focused, and they will watch the market. So there's a lot of eyes on stocks on Monday. So that means there's a lot of, you know, sitting on the sidelines money. So if the money is not going to go in Wiki, and then the money's not gonna go inside you because these were the top, first 2 trades. If the money's not gonna go inside you and the money's not gonna go in WeBuy, or they didn't make any money, they're gonna look at Wiki and they're gonna be like, this is an ape type setup. This is what you want to be buying. 52-week breakout has news, pre-market breakout, low float, number 3 on the news. So why exactly did I buy it over here? First off, this is a pre-market breakout. And I got into my head that this is gonna hold. So why did I say it's gonna hold? I calculated in my brain that there's gonna be enough volume and enough demand for this stock, considering the first two movers did not work out, that they're going to buy the dip, even though it's at $11 from originally at $9. So even though I'm paying 20% more, I am I am examining the data and I'm buying the dip because the money flow of the market, the two stocks that we went in, they were useless. I mean, here probably, I mean, who wakes up at 7:30 to make 10%? I mean, people did not make their money. You have to understand, people want money, people will trade, people will buy things that make them money. And you can see that we buy as an expert trader was not a great setup. And even though it could or could not have worked out, most people probably lost on it. Number two, this ticker Saidu had no range, which is number two top gainer, and only gave like 10-20 cents. And that 10-20 cents is nothing. So now we look at Wiki here, which is amazing, low float and provides range, able to move $1, $2, $3 a share in a very short period of time. You can see from 1060 to 1320. That's a 25% increase. You do that with 1,000, 2,000 shares, and that makes your day. In this situation, I did it with around 3,000 shares, which I was a little bit on the high side. 3,000 shares. Technically, I should have went only 2,000 shares because it was somewhere between a B and a C because I wasn't really sure. But in this situation, I pushed it and I thought it was a A type setup. So since I thought it was an A type setup, I went in with 3,000 shares. And that was just fine. I felt pretty comfortable with this position. And I initially bought it at 11 and then I added on the dip and then I pretty much just sold it into the high 13s. And that was that. I made 3 trades today. I came out on top and I examined the market and I understood the difference between an A type setup, a B type setup, and a C, and I adjusted accordingly, considering the fact what kind of market we are. Like we are right now in the bear cycle. So considering the fact we're in a bear cycle, I need to take 10% or more base hits. So not only, you have to adjust your sizing since it's an A type setup, you also need to adjust, your percent gain. So in this situation, since I bought Wiki at 11.26 and I sold it at, you can see my buys and sells. So I technically made more than I was expecting to. If I were gonna divide, let's see if I can divide a calculator. Let's see if I can get the calculator out. So if I do 1313 minus 11.26 equals, I made $1.87 a share, and you divide that by the 11.26, I made a 16%, 17% gain, 17% gain, which is way better than 10%. So it wasn't like a big gain, like 20, 30%. It was more like a 17% gain. And that was on high size. And sorry, Wiki, sorry, this one. From 11, sorry, from 1160, from 1126, because I added on the way here on the dip, and then I sold it at 13. So this is a very good example of price action analysis as well as the stock market analysis. Every single day you're forced I am forced to, you can see right here, entry at 11, added on the dip, sold at 13, left the party. That's it. That's really all you got to do. Um every single day you're going to have to wake up and you're going to have to, put all these screens up. You're going to have to analyze the data, analyze what day it is. First off, what day is it? Is it Monday, the first day of the week? Supposed to be the strongest. What happened to the top two movers? They sold off. There's a lot of leftover money because there's a lot of build up energy because we had Saturday and Sunday where people are sleeping. So if they didn't make money on the first one or second one, they're gonna probably go to the third one on the list and they're gonna recognize that that ticker is an A plus setup. Let's see. It's an A. Sorry about webinar. It's an A type. It's an A type setup. So in this situation, I calculated that buying the dip with huge size would have been very beneficial because we broke the pre-market and then we held the pre-market and then we pretty much went to 13. All these things combined made this trade a very profitable trade. Every single day, you're gonna have to show up and you have to examine the data and examine the data based on the day, the time of day, like right now, because it's a slow market cycle, bear market cycle. I'm not even interested trading between 7 and 9 a.m. I'm only interested trading after 9 a.m. Like before, I used to wake up in a cold market cycle between 7 and 9, and then it was pretty much a waste of time. So now, because it's a bear market cycle, I only trade between around 10 to about 11. So I minimize my exposure during these periods of not so high volatility. And I come in when I'm supposed to, and I leave as well when I'm supposed to. It's just you have to adapt to what is, and you have to, not burn yourself out. I used to burn myself out. I used to in a bear market cycle. I used to wake up at like 6:30 and I sat there for 3 hours and there's nothing moving on the first day of the week. So this was my webinar for today. This was a great example of Wiki and how I was able to analyze the market. And pretty much right now we're actually offering you guys a running a sale until December 31st and only a few days left. You can take advantage of my sale in the link in the description below. This is how I examined today's trading. It was a little bit challenging, especially in the beginning when I had to take a loss. And check me out in my private Discord live each and every day. And this is a very good example uh, how I was able to dissect today's market and make the proper adjustments to issue that this is an A type setup and to buy it and to make money and to not only make up for my loss in the morning, but also make a lot more extra. And then 10:30, 11 shows around. You have to bolt. Anyway, that's about it for me, you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you give this video a like, and see you all later. Have a good rest of your day.